I'd like to begin by showing you the views a teacher has of assessment data for her classes in the current school year, as well as classes she taught the previous year. The platform supports both state and local assessments, including assessments created by districts' teachers. Before showing you the views, what you're about to see is real data from a school district. However, the names of students and teachers have been changed to protect their confidentiality. Once a teacher clicks on a secured link, it connects her to her classes, and only she can access and view her classes. There are two possible views. The back view enables the teacher to go back and see how our students did on an assessment. We call this the rear view, where the student results from previous years can be used to decide whether lessons and materials were effective. If we look at the 2015-16 school year, and school years end with the June date of 2016, we call this the front view, where student results on assessments in prior grade levels helps her to decide the levels of instruction needed for students moving forward. In essence, it provides a starting point for our current students for the new school year. If we select 2016 and select one of her sections, Section 3, Math 7, which is a regular math, we can see that there were 3 different assessments taken in 13, 14, and 15. This is a 7th grade class she's now teaching, and she's looking back and at the 2015 grade 6 math results. You can see there are 24 students in her class, and 14 of those students took the assessment. Once she's selected that information, she can click on Go. There are currently 5 views available. The first view is a class list. Then there's the courses and sections. There's the by levels, individual students, and a flipped standard view, which I'll explain later on how that helps to prepare lessons. The class list consists of students with their scale scores and performance levels, and the students that didn't take the assessment. It's very important that class lists are updated frequently so teachers can see student assessment data from the very first day a student is placed in his or her class. That's our goal. The course and section view provides a way to see all the students in our class as a group. For the students currently in Math 7 class, you can see as a group how they performed on the 6th grade assessment by domain, clusters, and standards. When a teacher clicks on a standard, it provides the cluster and standard description. In addition, the curricula for a standard and lessons can be provided by linking to content and resources available on the web. For example, in New York Learn, the curricula is available as a free online resource. And that's for that particular standard that was selected. The same is true for lessons. In New York Learn, if your district has a subscription to New York Learn, then we can link to New York Learn, the curriculum, as well as lessons. In this particular example, 7th grade ratios and percents, we're finding lessons that can help the 7th grade teacher. The next view is to view students by levels. Based on their prior levels and scale scores, the class was divided into 3 small groups: low, middle, and high. The low group scale scores were from 206 to 292, the middle was from 292 to 318, and the high was from 318 to 342. There's a lot of information being presented here. However, very easily a teacher can see how each group performed. For example, in the low groups, you can easily identify the weakest standard, equation expressions, A4, and then ratios and percents as A3B. Now let's take a look at individual students. Let me first explain the heat chart. As you move to the top left corner and the color is darker, these are your strongest students. As you move to the bottom right corner, the color is lighter, and these are her weakest students. For example, the student Harbor has a scale score of 342 and a performance level of 24. And the lower right hand corner is the weakest student, Francine, with a scale score of 206 and a performance level of 21. By clicking on a student's name, the individual results for that student are displayed by domain, clusters, and standards. If a student didn't answer correctly any of the questions on the assessment for a particular standard, it'll be completely black. On the other hand, if it's completely blue, the student answered all the questions correctly, as well as we get percents for students that answered partially correct. Some of the questions correct, I should say. The last view is the Flip Standards view, was designed for teachers to use throughout the entire school year to plan his or her lessons. For example, a teacher planning a 7th grade lesson in ratios and percents could begin by going back in time to see how each of the students performed on the 6th grade assessment. Let's select and we can see that Carolyn Klein, the student we selected, is in the middle group for ratios and percents. If we then were to select Geometry, Standard A2, Carolyn Klein will appear in the lower group, the low level. She absolutely got nothing right on that assessment. And then if we were to click on Numbering Systems, B4, Carolyn is in our high group. These 5 views so far were moving forward using data from the past to guide instruction for the future. That's a quick overview of how we can using data moving forward. Now let's take a rear view, looking backwards at past class taught by this teacher. Switching to the 2015 school year, let's take a rear view of her accelerated math class, the students that she taught the previous year, to see how they did. So we select the year, we select the class, and then we select the assessment. Once all 3 have been selected, we then click on Go to Views. So these are the students that she taught last year. And we begin by looking at the class list, and this is the results for those students that she taught and worked with last year in Accelerated Math 7. Once again, the class list provides the scale scores and performance levels, as well as the tells of the students that did not take the assessment. The course and section view of her Accelerated Math class shows the results by domain, clusters, and standards. A teacher can see the growth of her students by selecting the previous year, 2014, in grade 6. For example, the class in Geometry in grade 6 completed the year at 67%. And in 7th grade, the year ended with the class in Geometry at 71%. A small improvement. For equations and expressions in 6th grade, the class was at 83%. And in 7th grade, the class ended at only 59%, a significant decline. And for ratios and percents, if we go back to 6th grade, they were at 94%. And in 7th grade, they ended up at 65%. So once again, for our accelerated math class, they declined in both equations and expressions and ratios and percents, and a small improvement in geometry. We can also view the information by levels. The weakest standard across all levels, low, middle, and high, was equations and expressions A2. Knowing that, you could focus in to help our students this year by selecting different instructional materials for that standard, create a new lesson herself, or use an online lesson used by other teachers that perhaps produce better results. If we work at individual students and we had this information in hand before the end of the school year, we could sit down with that student and parents, or both, and show them this information, whether they could work with this information over the summer to improve or to enhance their strengths. And then the flip view, in one snapshot, the teacher is able to see for all the standards assessed last year her strengths and weaknesses based upon the results for the students in that class. And she can very easily see in the bottom quadrant to the right her 4 weakest standards. And once again, with this information in hand, she can use this over the summer to help improve her instruction or find different resources or lessons to use that produce better results. The whole purpose of presenting these views is for a teacher to gain insights about students to improve instruction, but it's just as important to know what students know as well as what they don't know. Otherwise, in the absence of timely, accurate, and reliable information, teachers cannot make informed decisions essential to helping students succeed. That's a quick overview of how a teacher can view assessment data results to improve your instructions. Thank you for taking the time to watch this short video.